Now, you can use AI to help you work on things like an elevator pitch or even prep for an interview by asking it to help you answer certain questions or give you a suggested response. Again, we are using the technology as a tool, but I want to offer you here that you don't want to be so dependent on AI that you can't think on the spot or answer a question during an interview that may make or break your chances of getting a job. You never want to come across as being overly formulaic or robotic or overly rehearsed in an interview. If you go back to episodes 110 through 119, where I did an entire arc on interview preparation, we talked so much, and including my guests, we talked so much about how important it is to build that relationship in the interview. So you want to be able to do that. So you might be wondering, well, John, look, you're not out there interviewing for jobs. How do you use AI? Well, I've used AI such as ChatGPT for various aspects of my business. I use it as a thought generator. So when I have an idea about something, I may go to ChatGPT and play around with it a little bit. Remember, it is pulling from public domain information, which means it's pulling from a variety of sources. I still have to fact check. I still have to make sure it's giving me that kind of credible information. And there have been times when I have used a different AI tool with my podcasting host to help me write the show notes. It doesn't always give me great results. As I've gone back and looked at the last 6 months and I've looked at some of the show notes, they're not always in my voice. Sometimes I've been a little rushed and I've been like, all right, I'm just going to let this one go. Doesn't always have the keywords and phrases that it's going to help me optimize and get me better search engine optimization or SEO for my podcast. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time with the show notes this year. The other thing is, it doesn't do a really great job of spelling neural. Um, I had to really chuckle one day when my book editor, so my same book editor for both of my books, texted me one day and he's like, "Why is your name spelled wrong in the Apple Podcasts show notes? That shouldn't be." I had to fess up. I said, "Well, I was in a rush. I just used ChatGPT and I didn't check this. Use the AI with the system. It wasn't ChatGPT. It's something else." So yeah, I had to do a little mea culpa with my book editor, but he got it. He understood, and we had a really interesting conversation about what he's seeing about benefits and stuff of disadvantages as well with AI. So it is a conversation that is absolutely not going to be going away in 2024. But in conclusion, here's what I want to offer you when you are thinking about using AI such as ChatGPT. Number one, it's not going away. Number two, when we get to December of 2024 and we look at all the things AI has done and grown this year, we're probably going to be blown away, maybe even a little more scared than what we are now. But as a job seeker, and especially as a mid career job seeker, trust me on this one, you must be prepared to talk about it during your interview, share your experiences and your opinions about it. At the mid career level, where you are expected to be a thought leader, a visionary, a strategic and creative individual, failing to address this topic in some way, shape, or form in your interview means you are letting other people do it. And I don't believe that's a smart move for you right now. You can have an opinion about it. You can be humble and be really curious about it. I'll give you this example. As many of you know, I had a 25-year career in education. And as I transitioned out of the classroom and took various administrative roles, I remember working for a state superintendent at the time when the Common Core standards for mathematics were being rolled out. And I sat in the room with the two gentlemen who spearheaded the creation of these standards. Whatever your opinion is about them, your experiences, your political beliefs, they're not relevant in this conversation, because the professional struggle and challenge that was going on in that room was one of the most memorable events of my career. I remember sitting there with experts and them saying, "We're open to discussion. We're hearing you. We believe it needs to be in this direction." And when we would roll out the training and development for teachers within the district or at the state level, or I would travel to work with teachers across the country and assessment specialists, one of the things we always said was, we're struggling with it, but we're figuring it out. And so, can you imagine what the conversations must be like if we were able to eavesdrop on what's going on with all of this AI technology? I truly believe in my heart they are struggling with it as well. And they will continue to struggle as this evolves. But have an opinion about it. Be prepared to discuss it. Be prepared to offer your thought leadership when called upon, because that's what we do as mid-career professionals, especially as you're looking for that seat at the table and aspiring to advance your career. This is one of those topics that is not going to go away. And I'll say this again, when you're interviewing for that job or you're networking for it, be memorable. Find a way to stand out. Have an opinion that is unique and different and a perspective that you can tag to yourself. And always, always communicate how your expertise and your knowledge is going to help them be better. We're going to continue to talk about this as well this year. So this is not a one and done by any means. So I hope you will continue to stay along and follow. But what's been your take with AI? What have you learned in this process as well? So feel free to drop me a note. You can email me at john@johnneral.com or message me on LinkedIn at John Neral. Would love to connect and have you part of my network. And if you could do me one favor. If you've enjoyed this episode or you've been following this podcast for a while, would you do me a favor and kindly share this episode or podcast link with 3 of your friends or colleagues and invite them to listen? Invite them to follow or subscribe wherever they get their podcasts. Help me organically continue to grow this podcast and reach more people. It is one of my biggest missions this year in 2024 is to get this out to as many people as possible. I thank you for your support. And until next time, my friends, remember this. You will build your mid-career GPS 1 mile or 1 step at a time, and how you show up matters. Make it a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening to the Mid-Career GPS podcast. Make sure to follow on your favorite listening platform. And if you have a moment, I'd love to hear your comments on Apple Podcasts. Visit johnneral.com for more information about how I can help you build your mid-career GPS, or how I can help you and your organization with your next workshop or public speaking event. Don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn and follow me on social at John Neral Coaching. I look forward to being back with you next week. Until then, take care, and remember, how we show up matters.